David Hanagan, and I'm a wildlife biology and conservation student at Edinburgh Napier University. I'm a amateur mycologist and macro photographer. I've grown up around Old Park all of my life, and ever since my interest in mycology, fungi and slime moulds has evolved, I've been frequenting the Old Park a lot. And it's a vital area for fungi and slime moulds due to the diverse number of species here. For around the past 9 months, I've been actively surveying and recording the species I find, and we're at a tally close to 100 species, which is quite impressive for such a short time period of surveying. I couldn't be more grateful for the diversity of Old Park. There's other sites I go to, but they're usually confined to one or two habitat types, whereas Old Park being so diverse, it's almost any time of the year or any weather condition or seasonal condition, I can kind of know there's an area that will have a certain species of fungi. If I'm looking for, say, a species that needs old growth oak during the winter, I know a spot here at Old Park, this is where I'm most likely going to find Graphola frondosa. Lo and behold, I'll go there and I'll find it. And then with the elf cups again this winter, they've been found a lot down near the entrance to Fordwich along the stream, along with the willow. But there's a few areas where you get water runoff from the pond up Old Park, and part of me is like, oh, this is a very wet area with a lot of drainage and a lot of decaying woods. There's most likely going to be Sarcocypher elf cups down here. Lo and behold, you go there, and you find Sarcocypher elf cups. So it's sort of this really beautiful tapestry of not only knowing the species, but knowing the time of year, the conditions they need, and then knowing the area so intimately well that I can kind of combine them all, have a hunch, and then have it come to fruition. Fungi are arguably the most crucial, but sometimes to the layman the most overlooked organism in an ecosystem. Mushrooms only make up such a small portion of fungi, and we're used to that shape of the stem and the cup, and that is common, but there's also a lot of really incredible shapes, like the Sarcocypher species I mentioned, the elf cups. They're little discs that are vibrant red, and if you blow on them you see a puff of spores, and it was like really magical seeing people this year notice them a lot more in the group and really appreciate the vibrancy of the colour and the abstract shapes and how they just litter this floor, especially during winter, a time that's usually so devoid is often the time that has really colourful fungi. You have the vibrant red elf cups, you get a species called yellow brain, the Tremella mesentrica, which is this globular mess of vibrant yellow fungi growing on sticks, which people often find, and they love wiggling it and seeing it jiggle, this massive jelly, which to a lot of people they wouldn't assume is a fungi, because fungi is often associated with a stem and a cap like you see in the stores. There'll be hundreds if not thousands of connections with an oak tree, and yeah, they'll be spreading out. They call it the wood wide web, in that everything is connected through the mycelium. It's sort of, the mycelium allows trees to talk to each other. They can connect and send signals if a tree is struggling, if it needs, say, an uptake of a certain nutrient or water. It can send out a chemical signal which goes through the roots, connects to the mycelium, which connects to other mycelium due to it all being connected in this wood wide web, and allow trees to sequester certain nutrients that are needed. So it really is a fungal internet, you could say, that connects almost every living thing in an ecosystem. It's really incredible. The potential for Old Park, as you said, I've only been recording for 9 months and already have found nearly 100 species, but in terms of species that can exist in these habitats, I'm only scratching the surface. There's whole swaths of families and genuses that I'm yet to actively record up here that could potentially exist. So we're talking in the hundreds of species, and then these are just the macro species that you can see. There's a whole network of microscopic fungi and sort of fungi that exists on sort of leaves and grass blades that are a lot harder to find, require much more specific conditions. And then you get to myxomycetes or slime moulds, which are even more incredibly diverse and hard to find, often under-recorded, under-researched. And yeah, if I had a few years up here, I'm sure I could quadruple numbers. This species we have here is a resupinate crust fungus called Tarana cerulean, known as cobalt crust due to its vibrant blue colouring. You find it on dead wood and living wood. and it's the rarest fungi I found at Old Park. I found it on the boundary near where the military base used to exist. My recording is one of 20 or so recordings ever recorded in Kent, the furthest east recording since the 1980s, and in total there's only around 400 recordings in the entirety of the UK, so it's an incredibly rare fungi. And yes, my data point was collected by the British Mycological Society to put into their database of species, and it's just an example of the importance of the Old Park for fungal life. You have a lot of the common species that exist here and some more uncommon ones, but it also shows there's some incredibly rare species which often would go overlooked. It's quite a small fungus, it's quite vibrant, but unless you're actively kind of looking for it or have an eye for it, it might go overlooked. People don't know these things, but people have an innate passion for really interesting things in nature, and how can you not be passionate about finding these, especially in like the mid-dead of winter where everything's so barren and grey, finding these beautiful shades of red and yellow and purples. People can't not be enamoured by this.